So I was talking with a couple of my friends the other day, and we were just talking about like dating and boys, yada, yada, yada. And one of my friends is going through like something toxic with a guy, and my other friend says to her something that really took me back and gave me a perspective on toxic relationships that I haven't really heard before. Like, I've heard it, but she just said it so blunt that I was like it took me back a little bit, and I was like, oh shit. Like, so I just need to reiterate it for you all because someone needs to hear it. So if you were in a toxic situation, any type of toxic situation, whether you're together and you're toxic, you were together and now you're not, you were dating and now you're struggling to move on, and it's just like the in-between of like you love each other but you're scared to move on. And that's normally what it is. You're in a toxic relationship and you really can't move on. It's the fear of what's gonna come after cutting that person off. Like, once that person's not in your life anymore, what's gonna happen? That's kind of always the fear, you know? What I've realized is that fear is a selfish thing. Like, you're only thinking about you. And it's like, well, I don't wanna let him go. I don't wanna move on. I want him still. What's gonna come after moving on? If you can't move on for yourself, move on for your husband. When they're like having the conversation, I'm like listening, she was like, your husband doesn't deserve that. Your husband doesn't deserve him to still have a part of you. Your husband doesn't deserve for him to still be able to have some hold on your life, some piece of your heart. Your husband deserves your entire heart. Your husband deserves you to be healed. Your husband deserves all of the best parts of you. He doesn't deserve another guy to still be in the picture and for another guy to still have a little bit of your heart. So if you can't move on for yourself, move on for the man that you marry, the father of your children. Light bulb. Light bulb.
These are some things I wish I knew sooner. If they're not supporting you publicly, they're probably talking about you privately. Quality over quantity. The right one will not make you confused. The only way to see muscle definition is to eat more protein. It's your parents' first time living too. The longer you lay around and do nothing, the less time you have to turn your dreams into reality. When wearing makeup, less is more. Vaping ruins your skin and shortens your lifespan. Drinking a gallon of water a day will curb your craving and make your skin more glowy. Your idols probably go through the same struggles as you. Everybody has to start somewhere, so don't be embarrassed to start. Muscle weighs more than fat, so if you gain weight and you're hitting the gym a lot, it's probably muscle. The more you talk to random people on the street, the better you get with social skills. Smiling is not just smiling with your teeth, it's smiling with your whole face. If someone's talking shit, it's just a projection of them, so let them. And that's it. Romanticize your life. People used to call me delusional all the time. At the time I was. Stop wearing makeup every day. I went 2 years of my life where I don't think I took a single break from makeup. I mean, even whenever I was sick. Sometimes some skincare and curled lashes is really all you need. Never forget sunscreen. Mom used to bug me so much about not putting my face in the sun, wearing sunscreen every day. I could have saved myself years of discoloration in my face if I had just started putting sunscreen on more consistently sooner. Never be afraid to be yourself. I've always been a very talkative, outgoing person until my peak teenage years, whenever people would call me annoying. Eventually, I just stopped being myself. I adopted the personality that I thought others around me would be okay with. I sat alone in my classes. I didn't talk to anybody. Never tried to branch out and make friends. I became such an anxious and depressed person because I swore up and down that no one liked me and that I was annoying. There was, 2 or 3 people that would talk badly about me. I was allowing that to make up my entire high school experience. Don't post issues you have with people. I see people posting on their Snap stories all the time, subtweeting memes, posting things about being in their feelings. Like, post a little vlog going to the grocery store. If you have issues within a relationship, if you have issues within a friendship, nobody needs to know about that. Save your money. You don't need to go on TikTok shop and buy things. You don't have to buy the newest makeup product. Look back at high school, no one's gonna think blank never had the shoes that everybody else had. If a friend is draining you, a friend is draining you, and it doesn't matter how long you guys have been friends for. If somebody keeps turning everything into a soap opera, it's time to turn off the TV. You have enough time on your hands to realize when a guy's not texting you back, and you have too much time on your hands. I agree you shouldn't be playing games about guy left me undelivered for that long and blah blah blah. Love is natural. You won't have to play games to find it. Find some hobbies, because I guarantee you that guy who's leaving you undelivered, one, isn't worth it. And if you actually find hobbies, you have to play the delivered game because you're actually busy, he will probably want you more because he knows that your life doesn't revolve around whether or not you get a text back. That's all for today. It's a makeup free day, guys. I heard this saying that said, think about who you were before the world told you who you needed to be. And let me elaborate.
After I heard this, it got me thinking about when I was a little girl. Every time I would look in the mirror, I would just see every single beautiful feature on my face, on my body. I wasn't comparing to anyone walking on the street or anything online or billboards. Like, I grew up in Vegas, and obviously there's a ton of billboards everywhere. There's a ton of beauty, but there was never any comparison. I was just so okay and so happy with being myself. Would never hold back what I wanted to say, would never think twice about the gap in between my teeth or the pudgy stomach I had. I think I vividly remember being in 6th grade and looking down at my thigh, and then seeing my friend's thigh, and my thigh was spread out and her thigh was just sitting there. And I was like, why is mine doing that? It's so much bigger than yours. And that was the moment I started realizing I'm not good enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not pretty enough, I need braces, blah, blah, blah. But before that, there was a sense of clarity and okayness with who I am. And I think it's a good reminder to remember how we thought about ourselves and our appearance and our personalities in those days, because we would walk into a store and talk to anyone and stop on the street and talk to anyone. But now we hold back because we want to fit this mold of maybe the perfect person or matching up to someone's standards. It's obviously easier said than done, but it's a good reminder to know that no one's perfect and we were all uniquely made in such a beautiful way. And when you embrace that uniqueness, people actually follow it and almost copy it in a way. Trends don't start because they're basic. Trends start because they're unique and out of the ordinary, and people are always searching for that uniqueness. So, don't follow the trends, make your own trends within yourself. Try and be okay with who you are. Obviously, I'm taking my own advice with this as well, but I thought this was cool.
Here's some things that I wish I knew before I entered my 20s. I'm 24 and I give advice on TikTok for a living. 1, nothing is ever really that serious. You will waste so much time getting anxious or upset. If it's not gonna matter in 5 years, do not spend more than 5 minutes on it. Funny thing is, most things aren't gonna matter in 5 days, let alone 5 years. 2, stop judging people so hard. It is everyone's first time at life, and everyone is going through something that you have no idea about. I don't care how close they are to you. Be more understanding and remember that sometimes people are just trying their best. Talking shit and overreacting is immature and unattractive. 3, the only way to obtain anything in this life, no matter what it is, if it's a job, if it's a relationship, if it's a friendship, is to not need it. Desperate energy is repellent energy. The most attractive you'll ever be is when you're not trying to attract anything. Be as present as possible, be grateful for what you have, and let things flow to you, especially if you're a woman. Don't ever chase anything. 4, you can be anything that you want to be, and you can change your mind as many times as you want. Don't let anyone tell you differently. Just because you've been a certain way for a long time, or even for the majority of your life, does not mean that you're required to maintain that. You are in charge of your personality and how you create it. 5, comparison is not just the thief of joy, it's completely useless. Make a plan that works for you, that you find challenging and inspiring and rewarding, and stick to it. Stay in your own lane and don't look at other people's, because it will get you nowhere.
Stop telling your friends everything. You might think I'm insane for saying this now, but trust me, just look at how your life changes. Once I stopped telling people what I was planning on doing with my life and actually just started doing it, I finally started seeing success within those things. Just the other day, I was hanging out with some of my friends, and one of my friends was talking to his friend, talking about a project that he was working on. I tugged his sleeve and pulled him aside and just kind of told him, hey, I care about you, so some advice. I wouldn't tell people what projects you're doing that could end up being really successful, because people naturally are very jealous. And he kind of got mad at me. He was like, that's literally my best friend. What do you mean? I was like, hey, I'm just trying to give you some advice. You don't have to take it. And we moved on from that. His friend, after hearing that for the rest of the night, was kind of making weird comments at him, just making fun of him for stuff. At the end of the night, he tells me, he's like, hey, thank you. In the moment, I was kind of like, what? But now that I look back at it, like, thank you for stopping me. And I ended up like really not going in depth about what I was working on. You can't read anyone's mind, unfortunately. You really don't ever know what people are thinking. That's hard, because I also know that I'm a chronic oversharer. Just think about, would you rather tell somebody now and then once you complete it, cool, yeah, you met expectations, or keep it to yourself, allow it to happen, and then surprise everybody around you?
More quotes that have changed my brain. 1, don't chase people who know exactly where to find you. 2, it's okay to feel sad after making the right decision. 3, it will be okay, but it will be different. 4, people fall in love with other people's leaves, not their roots, so they don't know what to do when autumn comes. 5, only when it is dark can you see the stars. 6, if not now, when? 7, the best revenge is no revenge. 8, the price of procrastination is the life you could have lived. 9, if it's the right person, there is no wrong time. And 10, the potential you see in other people actually isn't there, it's just what you would do in their shoes. And that's it. Happy Sunday.
If you're ever wondering if he likes you, he doesn't. You're wondering because he doesn't like you. Okay, men are black and white. Let's be for real. If he's not asking you out, it's because he doesn't want to go out with you. If he's not texting you, it's because he doesn't want to text you. Oh, I'm confused because he said this. No, stop. No, stop. Oh, but I really, really like him. No, you don't. Stop. Shut up. You're just bored. You're bored because you don't have a hobby outside of hanging out with your friends and media consumption. What the hell else are you going to do? Of course you think you like this guy. You don't have anything else to do. Please, anytime you start thinking about a guy and that's what you're doing with your time, that's how you're spending your fucking time, you need to go find something else to do. I don't care if it's professional frisbee throwing, okay? Or you need to pick up freaking knitting. Whatever it is, you have to do something else. Like, this is out of control. It's out of control. You know, you're not confused. Men do not do mixed signals. There's no games here, okay? Like, very straight up, if he is not dating you, it's because he doesn't want to date you. And not everyone has good taste, so he's an idiot, whatever. But, like, we're not doing this anymore. No.
Quotes that have changed my brain. 1. Rotten fruit falls on its own. 2. As kids we believed in heroes. As teenagers we understood villains. 3. Some chapters are meant to be closed, not rewritten. 4. Your mind believes what you feed it, so choose wisely. 5. You can't pour from an empty cup, so take care of yourself first. 6. Blowing out someone else's candle won't make yours shine brighter. 7. If you can't change the person, change the person. 8. Find people who speak your language so you don't have to waste years translating your soul. 9. Not everyone that hurts you cares. And 10. Sometimes you won't know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. That one's by Dr. Seuss. And that's it.
By far the best thing I ever did for myself and for my confidence was get a really, really clear understanding of who I am as an individual. It's so funny to me because this is something I've been obsessed with since I was really young. But I feel like there are so many people that can't answer even basic questions about themselves. Like, what are your strengths and weaknesses? If you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be? If you were a movie character, what character would you be? If you were a color, what color would you be? I have found that it's very difficult to go through life without a sense of personal conviction and self-assurance. And so you end up unsure of what you're going to do in social situations. You don't really know how you walk into rooms. You don't really know the kind of friend that you are. Then you start going into social situations observing yourself. And that's where I think self-consciousness comes from, or over self-consciousness, because I've gotten so clear on who I am. I don't have to question how I'm going to react to something or what I'm going to do or what I'm going to say, because I've already decided that this is who I am. A lot of people don't like this concept because you feel like you're trying to be something that you're not. If I have learned anything in this life, that human beings don't find themselves, they just make it up. Your personality is nothing more than a decision that you've made based on the traumas and experiences and things that you've been surrounded by your whole life. You can be anything that you want to be. Ever watched a movie or read a book or seen a celebrity or met someone that you are absolutely obsessed with? If you don't feel that way about yourself, that's a problem. There's no reason why you shouldn't be someone that you think is the coolest person ever. I would make a mood board for yourself and look at it every day. You don't have to be anything. Just because you've been a certain way your entire life doesn't mean you're confined to that. You are always telling people who you are, not the other way around. You've created a version of yourself that you really, really love. You become so bulletproof because you like yourself in every single room that you walk into. So you're not really gonna care if anyone else likes you because you like you. You've taken the time to sit down and map that out. Very few people do that. A lot of people think that power is measured by how much control you have over others, but it's not. It's how much control you have over yourself. It's much easier to control something that you're really familiar with. If you are one of the few people that can accomplish that, I think that's what makes you start winning. You're so welcome.